If you didn't know, NASA is planning a moon mission for the first time in over 50 years as soon as tonight, weather permitting. And there are a lot of holes to poke in this entire mission, from basic things to outright conspiracies. And if you've ever researched moon landing conspiracies, this video is for you. So let's get right into it. We'll discuss briefly some public information and go a bit deeper on some other implications. So let's get into it. So as of today, April 1st, this is April 2nd here for time zone differences, but NASA is in the final countdown for its historic launch of Artemis II. And it's the first crewed mission to the moon in over 50 years. And this mission is scheduled to launch from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and it's targeting a launch window from April 1st through April 6th. And as of the time of this recording, there's a lot of possibility that's going to happen sometime tonight, Eastern time, around 6 p.m., which is about 6 hours or so from the time of this video. And so it's supposed to be a 10-day trip where it's going to take 4 astronauts to the moon and back. And it's going to go to the far side of the moon. And they're really testing the Orion spacecraft. And that's basically that little tippy like part of it at the top of the spacecraft to see if the life support systems will work for humans for the very first time in this sort of inaugural rocket launch. And so crew members from across different nations, and this is supposed to be a precursor to a moon landing that involves the first women and first person of color. And so that's, of course, from that perspective. But really, a lot of people are asking, it's been 50 plus years. What is going on now? Why now? And what are some other things that could go wrong? And let's poke at some of these things. And one of the main questions people are asking immediately in this knee-jerk reaction is, why won't it land on the moon? We've already been there, supposedly, and we've already had this experience for more than 50 years. Why not land directly on the moon? And so according to NASA, it's due to the fact that, first, they want to test this Orion capsule to make sure that it can basically withstand a lot of the SLS system, the Space Launch System, and to make sure that both pieces of hardware are working as intended before putting boots back on the lunar surface. And this is, of course, with regards to the SLS rocket and the Orion capsule. And apparently they are targeting a 2028 date for astronauts specifically to return to the moon. And while there's a lot of skepticism around the Artemis program, specifically from a technical and safety perspective, as well as costs, delays, and scheduling, this is nothing compared to some of the big ticket conspiracy type stuff that many people have been circulating over the last several decades. And chief of which is that a lot of the moon landings, especially with Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong back in the big, infamous launch 50 plus years ago, a lot of that, people saying, was manufactured, a complete hoax, and was just a theatrical performance for the television. And that apparently, according to a lot of conspiracy theorists, that this was not correct. And so this is a big running theory. A lot of people have heard about it to some degree. But again, if you lived through that time and you've seen a lot of it and researched it, you would have your opinion and you would see what's what. And that brings me to what Q said in post 2225. And of course, if you've been following me and many other Anons on some of these Q drops, we know that there's high credibility that this is military intelligence, or at least, at the very least, people that are behind the white hats and what they're trying to do in terms of this warfare, information warfare, the psyops, and making sure they're countering the narrative and getting the truth out. And so if you've been following that, you know this famous post, did NASA fake the moon landings? And this is an Anon asking, have we been to the moon since then? Are there secret space programs? Is this why the Space Force was created? And then Q says here famously, false, moon landings are real. Programs exist that are outside of public domain. And so the running theory for many Anons is that, yes, the moon landings were fake and it was theatrical for that time period and a performance, but sometime later, or possibly before that, they did go to the moon, but it wasn't publicly showed, as is with all the fanfare of saying that this rocket, these astronauts, and all these things had happened. But the idea that there's technologies, there's military hardware, and many other programs that exist out of public domain makes you wonder, yes, there's a lot going on that people don't know. And of course, with this whole operation, we know that 20% is public and 80% is dark ops. And that's another Q post here with regards to military operations. But with regards to technology and the truth and the full story, you can imagine things, you can have your opinion, and there is some level of truth to some of these things. And with conspiracy, it's just a theory until it becomes conspiracy reality, right? There's a lot of people say a delta of 6 months, a year, whatever it is. The time is only getting shorter to some degree. But with all of this evidence of various things, people, testimonies, anecdotal, whatever it is that you want to believe to frame your perception of reality, this is where we are at right now. And so a lot of people questioning some of these things with regards to the technology and what we have now. And I believe that we've advanced heavily, but to the degree that this mission is what they completely say it is, who knows? I would love to know your thoughts, your comments below, but I just was recently exposed to this. And so I'm researching, I'm taking it in, and we'll see how the launch goes. It may be a failure in a catastrophic way. I pray it's not, or it might be a complete optical thing where it's a show, it's something that people say is this perception of reality, and maybe it isn't, and maybe it's something else that they're teeing up for other things, whether it is the quote-unquote alien thing, but really it's fallen angels or something else, and the build up to this whole narrative of the end times coming, Christ coming, and various other things. And so let's see how this turns out. Let's see what the launch is about. But I thought I'd bring this to your guys' attention and would love to know your thoughts, your comments below. But there's a lot of various conspiracies, a lot of skepticism going on. And with any news and anything, I always say pray about it. Let's see how the Lord leads, the Holy Spirit invites for us to discern and see where this goes. So more to come, guys. Be blessed, be encouraged. If you guys want to help me out, you guys know I'm listener supported, always looking to fundraise. The link is down below, givesendgo.com/chrisyoonyt. If you guys want to support me and help me out, would love it. I also have PayPal, Zelle, Venmo as alternatives if you guys prefer that. Thank you guys so much. More to come. Talk to you guys very soon.